Absolutely. Feel free to provide me with the title and I'll create a 4-part outline for you in the HFY, Humanity First, Sci-Fi genre. I'll ensure that the content is engaging, free of violated content, and designed to keep your audience hooked throughout each part. The Queen pulled me into an embrace, leaving the court speechless. Here's a 4-part HFY story outline based on the title The Queen Pulled Me into an Embrace, Leaving the Court Speechless, in a third-person style. Part 1. The Unexpected Arrival in the Grand Hall of the Galactic Empire's capital. The moment the doors slid open, a silence fell over the court. The royal family's newest guest was nothing like the other dignitaries. He was human, a species long dismissed by the Empire as nothing more than primitive relics. As the court eyed him with suspicion, the Queen, a formidable leader known for her strategic mind and icy demeanor, surprised everyone by standing. She was taller than most, her regal features sharpened by years of command, but she softened for a fleeting moment when her eyes met his. The human, standing uncomfortably before the High Council, had no idea why he was brought here. He was a former soldier, discharged after a brutal war against an alien species, his only wish being to return to his quiet life. But fate had other plans, and he found himself standing before a powerful queen who had never been one to show weakness. The Queen's voice rang out, commanding and warm in a rare moment of vulnerability. Human, you have something no one else has. Courage and integrity. I want to know more. The word stung the court, as many believed that the Queen had never cared for the lesser species. Part 2. The unseen bond as the Queen and the human spent more time together. A strange but undeniable connection formed between them. The court watched as the human, who had once seemed like an insignificant pawn, began advising the Queen in matters of statecraft. His strategies, built from years of survival and understanding human resilience, caught the Queen's attention. His compassion for others, especially the marginalized, intrigued her, and soon she began seeing him as more than just an outsider. Rumors began to swirl throughout the Empire about their growing closeness, and whispers in the corridors painted him as a figure of both admiration and suspicion. The Queen's trusted advisors, who had long held her in esteem, began to question her decision to seek counsel from a mere human. But the Queen was unbothered, as she saw something in him no one else had. With every secret meeting they shared, the bond between them deepened. Meanwhile, the human had found something he never expected in this galaxy: belonging. It was as if the universe itself had pulled him from obscurity and placed him by the Queen's side, a position he never dreamed he'd hold. What he didn't know was that the Queen had planned to make him her greatest ally, a secret weapon she could never have imagined, to outmaneuver the court's growing dissent. Part 3. The court's betrayal. The court could no longer tolerate the closeness between the human and the Queen. Fearing that the Queen's trust in the human might lead to her losing control over the Empire, a faction within the court began conspiring against them. They moved in the shadows, planting seeds of doubt, hoping to sway the Queen away from her growing affection for the human. One evening, as the Queen and the human shared a quiet moment in the palace gardens, the trap was sprung. The courtiers accused the human of plotting a coup, framing him with fabricated evidence. The Queen, shocked but resolute, stood before the court with the human by her side, knowing she had to act swiftly to preserve her power. The court demanded he be cast out, yet she remained silent for a moment, her gaze fixed on the human, whom she had come to trust beyond measure. In an unexpected show of defiance, the Queen dismissed the accusations with a cold fury. "If you believe this man would betray me," she declared, "then you underestimate both him and the bond we share." The silence in the room was deafening, the courtiers unsure of what to do next as the Queen's power flared in a way they had never seen before. Part 4. The Queen's Embrace. The final confrontation took place during a grand assembly, where the Queen was expected to address the most powerful figures in the Empire. The air was thick with tension as the courtiers pushed for the human's exile, claiming his presence was a threat to the Empire's stability. But before the Queen could make her judgment, she did the unthinkable. In front of the entire court, she stepped forward, her eyes locked onto the human. The court gasped as she pulled him into a fierce embrace, a gesture that shook the very foundation of their beliefs. The Queen, who had always been the epitome of composure and control, revealed a vulnerability no one had ever seen. She held him tightly, the weight of the galaxy's judgment pressing against them both. "I trust him," the Queen said, her voice ringing with absolute certainty, "and I will not let anyone take him from me." The court was left speechless, the balance of power shifting before their very eyes. The Queen had taken a bold step, aligning herself with the one who had become her greatest confidant, and to everyone's surprise, it was humanity itself that held the key to the Empire's future. As the court remained frozen in disbelief, the Queen and the humans stood together, facing the uncertain future that awaited them, knowing that their bond was now the most powerful force in the galaxy.